If you are wondering why I'm wearing a hat inside during quarantine, it's a very good question. It's very valid. I'm trying to hide my bangs. My bangs are not cooperating with me. I cut them pre-quarantine, you know, in my bathroom after watching half a YouTube tutorial, and it looked really cute and like edgy for like 2 weeks, and then after that it was not cute or edgy, and then I tried to cut them again, and then so we're just gonna wear this, and it doesn't really match my outfit, but it's like they're both kind of green. Hopefully this hat will provide some comedic relief to anyone who watches. If your bangs are also not cooperating with you, go ahead and like this video in solidarity. That would be great. If you notice anything different, it's because I just cut the price tag off of the hat that I'm wearing, so that's an improvement. Cornelia Street is like a physical manifestation of their love. Something I noticed throughout the lyrics of the song is the concept that physical places can be definitions for intangible entities. Let me explain what that means, okay? It sounds kind of existential. Love is something that she's singing about. This album is called Lover. That's the theme of the whole album. Love is not a tangible thing. Intangible just means something that cannot be touched. So for instance, emotions cannot be touched. Thoughts cannot be touched. They don't exist in the physical world. Love is an intangible entity, it's an emotion. But how does love exist? How do we measure it? Perhaps in someone's actions or in the way that they look at you, in the tone of their voice when they talk to you. I would argue that in this song, Taylor is defining the love of that relationship by this street. Cornelia Street is like a physical manifestation of their love. Looking at diction, which is word choice, and connotation. Connotation can be defined as the vibe or the emotion that words elicit. The words I want to look at here are drunk, rent, and casually. These words give me a vibe of something that is very chill and calm, and there's no commitment there. When you rent a place, it's a temporary situation. She literally uses the word casually. It's kind of like an offhand remark that she, said that she lived in Cornelia Street. The word drunk seems like they're coming back after a night out, and when you're drunk, you're not in your most logical state of mind, so you're not going to be saying things with a lot of intent, with a lot of thought behind that. It's more of a casual type of scenario. We were a fresh page on the desk, filling in the blanks as we go, as if the street lights pointed in an arrowhead, leading us home. I love the image of a fresh page on the desk. Taylor is a songwriter. Even in her documentary, Miss Americana on Netflix, which I totally watched multiple times, she says at the end that she wants to make sure she always has a sharp pen. Just having that image of a pen, and she is using imagery of a page on a desk, I think it just really ties into the fact that she is a songwriter at her core, and that's a very strong image if you know a little bit about Taylor's background and how involved she is in her songwriting process. Filling in the blanks as we go, this lets us know that there are no plans or expectations. This is going to bring up something that I've noticed all throughout this song. Everything just flows naturally. It's not hard for them to be together. That portion of the lyric that says as we go, it seems like something that just flows. We'll figure it out as we go. It's as if the universe is just kind of conspiring and helping them be together. Let's look at the next line. It's going to help support this claim that I'm making. The streetlights pointed in an arrowhead leading us home. It's kind of like you're going on a path and you don't know which way to go, and as you're walking on that path, some signs show up and they tell you what the right way is to go. But it seems as if the city's alive and it's leading them towards something. It gives this kind of a mystical vibe, which brings up another point I'm gonna make, that there's some like religious and mystical diction or word choice here. Later on, she actually says she feels mystified by him. So it's a very like mystical, magical vibe that she's creating with that word choice. And I hope I never lose you. Hope it never ends. I'd never walk Cornelia Street again. That's the kind of heartbreak time could never mend. I'd never walk Cornelia Street again. Another point that I think Taylor is making here is the fact that physical places, physical locations can have a specific definition for you. Cornelia Street might be just a street to some people, but to her it's something very meaningful, and it has become a definition of love for her. If this doesn't work out, I'm never gonna go back there again, because it's not just a street. This is our love, and I can't look it in the face again. And baby, I get mystified by how this city screams your name. And baby, I'm so terrified of if you ever walk away, I'd never walk Cornelia Street again. I'd never walk Cornelia Street again. In the first line of this verse, we have the word mystified. It's not religious, but it's kind of a spiritual word choice. And to be mystified, it gives this like magical, supernatural feeling. She says that this city screams his name. Her lover and their love is present in every crack in the sidewalk, all the creaks in the floor, which we're gonna get into in a second. He's everywhere. So New York City is not New York City to Taylor. New York City is her lover. It's very interesting that she's personified New York City in this particular manner, and it just shows you how palpable their love is. It's taking on a physical form, and it's taking on the form of a physical place. That's how strong and palpable their love is. She also mentions that she's terrified. That word choice has a connotation of vulnerability. To be in love is to be vulnerable, and we can tell that she's very much in love with that word choice. The repetition of "I'd never walk Cornelia Street again" places significance on that lyric. She's repeating it. She really, really means it. She's very serious about that statement. Another thing I want to mention, New York is very important. In her 1989 album, she has a song called Welcome to New York. However, in her song False God from this same album, Lover, she personifies her and her lover as parts of New York. So she says, I'm New York City, and then she calls her lover the West Village. So New York is very much entangled in their relationship. Windows swung right open, autumn air, jacket round my shoulders is yours. We bless the rains on Cornelia Street, memorize the creaks in the floor. The lyrics here just signify to me that they are settled into their relationship. It's in that cozy state of their relationship. His jacket is around her. He's keeping her warm. It's very sweet. It's very cute. We bless the rains on Cornelia Street, memorize the creaks in the floor. The word bless, that word choice, the diction there, is a religious thing. Again, I really need to do a video on false god because it's literally called false god. So it's kind of like this love has become a religion for her that she's worshiping. So that might be another video that I'll do later on once I understand that song more. She's using that imagery here. We bless the rains on Cornelia Street. Memorize the creaks in the floor. She needs to remember every minuscule detail down to the creaks in the floor because it all takes on a different meaning because something profound is happening here. She's falling in a very pure, deep love. Even the creaks in the floor are important here because they're part of her love story. Baby, just say yes. Okay, let's change my hat a little bit. I hope that this is entertaining for anyone who may be watching. Back when we were card sharks playing games, I thought you were leading me on. I packed my bags, left Cornelia Street before you even knew I was gone. This part of the song is providing us some context of their love story. It's just telling us that they were perhaps playing games earlier and she left Cornelia Street, but then in the next verse, she's gonna come back to Cornelia Street. Let me read that really quick. But then you called, showed your hand. I turned around before I hit the tunnel, sat on the roof, you and I. So she left Cornelia Street. We are thinking of Cornelia Street as a physical manifestation of their love. So she left their love, but then he didn't let her. He showed his cards. He, let her know that what they have is real. And then she came back to their place of love and they went on the roof. And if you remember from King of My Heart, I actually just did a video on it. I will go ahead and link it below. In the bridge of that song, they're on the roof. That's where she has the schoolgirl crush and they're drinking beer out of plastic cups, having that very nice, innocent moment. And she's on the roof again here. A lot of good discussions on that roof. I also really enjoy that she ended that line with you and I. I know that it probably just fit into the song better to state it like that, but the connotation of that phrase just makes it seem more united. If you were to say we, it has a different connotation than you and I. It's like when someone calls you by your name and you're like, oh yeah, you're acknowledging me. There's an acknowledgement of both parties with the phrase you and I, and it just feels like it's a united thing and it feels like they're a united front. And it's very cute and I really like that little detail. Then we have repetition of some verses. The next unique verse reads, you hold my hand on the street, walk me back to my apartment. Years ago, we were just inside. Barefoot in the kitchen, sacred new beginnings that became my religion. Listen. Okay, I really like this verse. It's probably my favorite one in this song. I have a lot to say about this one. She says that he is walking her back to that apartment, so he is leading her to their physical manifestation of love. I love it. It just goes with that little metaphor, in my opinion. They're always going back to that place, and he's leading her to their place of love. It's just very sweet to think about that. You need to go listen to this song, and then you need to go listen to a song called Invisible from her first album ever, because she borrowed a melody from that song and put it into this song. When I heard this the first time, I was like so shook because I knew it was a song from her first album. I just didn't remember what it was. So I remember when this album dropped, I was like, what song is this? And it's Invisible. If you go and look at the lyrics of that song, it's just about how she really liked this guy and he had eyes for someone else and she felt invisible to him. So in essence, Taylor is using the literary device of an allusion, but she's alluding to her own previous work. That's such a power move. So the part of this verse that has that same melody as the song Invisible is the part that reads, barefoot in the kitchen. I'm gonna sing it and I can't sing, so I'm really sorry. Barefoot in the kitchen, sacred new beginnings that became my religion. Listen. So make sure you go listen to that so you can forget what I just sang. Now, the work is to figure out why she did that, because everything with Taylor is very intentional. Before we get into that, there's a religious diction in that part of the verse, the word sacred, and then the word literally religion. So this love is something that's very deeply rooted in her being. It's a religion for her. She's gonna worship it. The fact that she's borrowed that melody for this particular part of this song really lets us know that she doesn't feel invisible anymore. She feels seen. In the same song Invisible, she says that the guy sees right through her. In the song Archer in On Lover, it's track 5, she asks if everyone can see through her, and then she also says, I see right through me. But in this instance, the fact that she's borrowing that melody and using it here where she discusses how this love is her religion, it's a sacred thing, suggests that she feels seen. No one sees through her anymore. They just see her. Her lover sees her. And to feel fully seen by someone that you love is a very beautiful and rare and magical thing. Another thing, in the song Invisible by Taylor Swift, I talked about this in my previous video looking at King of My Heart, how Taylor has this habit of using 3 words to describe things. So for instance, in King of My Heart, their love was a secret she was hoping, dreaming, dying to keep. In Begin Again, off of her album Red, she sung about a love that would only break and burn and end. In the song Invisible, that the melody here alludes to, she said that she really wished she could have a love that was beautiful, a miracle, and unbelievable. And I think she perhaps found that here, a beautiful love that's unbelievable, and a miracle. That's more religious diction. So the fact that she's alluding to invisible here, and there's so much religious diction, and 2 of the religious words are in the part of the song that has that melody, I think that she's telling us that this love is a miracle. The same miracle that she wanted back when she was, what, like 16 when her debut album came out? I'm just like realizing this now. Like I wrote down those 3 words to just link that together, but that's religious diction. A miracle can be interpreted as a religious thing. I'm very shook right now. That's very, very beautiful. I stan. I already did stan, but I stan even more if that's possible. The last word in this verse, listen, that made me feel a variety of emotions. It feels very vulnerable. It feels like, listen, she needs to be heard here. She has something to say, and she's just kind of not begging in a negative way, but it's very important that she say what she's about to say next. Here's what she says next. I hope I never lose you. I'd never walk Cornelia Street again. Oh, never again. The fact that the phrase listen was right before this just suggests to me as a listener how serious she is about the statement. She's not making a hyperbolic statement. She's saying, listen, I'm not kidding, I'm not joking, I will literally never walk Cornelia Street again. It's gonna be too difficult, I can't do it. It's just providing validity to her statement. Please, if you haven't listened to Cornelia Street, please go listen to it, because the melody that she chooses and the way she sings this song is so beautiful, and it pairs very well with the meaning of the song, at least in my personal opinion. And the part right here, the O, never again, the way she sings that O is so vulnerable, and it's very, very beautiful. So please go listen to it. The rest of the verses are repeated. I just want to make a point about the very last verse. I rent a place on Cornelia Street. I say casually in the car. I love it when she does things like this. She uses the same exact opening for the ending. It makes it feel like you were just standing somewhere and you reminisced about all of it, and then it just brings you back to the point where you started out. It makes it seem like a whirlwind, but a safe and cozy whirlwind, because it comes back full circle. And it makes it feel more casual because it's not left open-ended. It's like a full circle. So it feels more casual like that, and maybe that's because there's so much feeling and emotion here that you have to end it the way you started it, because it's too intense if you just kind of do like an open-ended type of thing. Well, the word casually here at the end has a different connotation than at the beginning. In the beginning verse, when she says she rents a place on Cornelia Street casually, I do interpret that as being like a casual remark because she didn't know what was in store yet. But here, when she repeats that verse, I interpret the connotation of the word casually as just being an act of self-preservation. I hope that makes sense. So initially, hold on, Initially, when she used the word casually, it's because it was the beginning stages of the relationship. But at the end, when she's recounting that, it's a much more loaded thing. Because how can that statement even be casual after she's already told us, the listeners, all of the very important and emotional things that happened between them? You know, there's a whole street that is a physical manifestation of their love. How can that be casual? That's why I interpret the use of the word casual here as, it's kind of ironic a little bit. It makes you chuckle. You're like, ha, it's not casual at all. You're so in love. You're so in love. She has done this before. If you have the deluxe edition of her Lover album, I have version 4. It has copies of her journal, and probably my favorite entry in there is where she talks about antiquing with her mom, and she starts that journal entry the same way she ended it, with the same sentence. That makes it seem very cozy and very personal. Those are all of the unique verses in Cornelia Street by Taylor Swift. To sum up, this song is very beautiful. It's very beautifully written with a lot of intentionality, and it's also just very beautiful to listen to. Please go listen to this song if you haven't. Everything just meshes together very, very well. This just shows to me that their love is so substantial that it cannot be contained within an intangible form. It has left the intangible dimension of the universe, and it is manifesting itself within New York City and within Cornelia Street in particular. Okay, that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below if you agree with my interpretation or if you have a completely different interpretation. There's no right or wrong answer here. We're just doing this for fun. Please go ahead and give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any other songs you would like me to take a deeper dive into, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. I'm always down to look at lyrics in a very deep existential manner, because apparently that's what I like to do for fun. How do hats work? Like, how do people wear hats? I'm so confused. I definitely feel like Alexis Rose from Schitt's Creek.